Hi, this is Ryan Thompson from Endure Car Protection. Just wanted to run through a video of some fast forwards we had in the workshop back in October 2025 and this recorded in January 26. We've got a Focus RS and a Fiesta ST. This is one of our first paid customers, a friend of a friend, that helped sort of start the business. So a big thanks to the owner for taking a leap of faith on us. So let's have a look underneath these cars. This is a joint video of both the Fiesta and the Focus. So first of all, underneath the rear of the Fiesta. So actually, this was a 2016 car, so 10 years old, in very good shape underneath in the rear. So little bit of rust around some of the bolts. The subframe starting to show some rust, but nothing major. So actually a good time to get in there and get it protected and keep it in good condition. So this is the rear of the Fiesta before. The ramps that I'm using here are a little bit DIY. So we've actually upgraded for January 26. I've now got some hydraulic ramps. So a little bit basic back in the day as we started the business, but things progress and businesses mature. Anyway, so underneath the rear of the Fiesta after now, so you can see the heavy grease gone on the slightly rusty bolts, and you can see how the subframe now looking much fresher with the Lanoguard. So that's had the spray on and looking much better. So that's the rear. Whilst we were under there, also gave the exhaust tips a polish as well, so make them look nice and fresh. But that's the rear post Lanoguard. Now moving to the front. So this is underneath the front of the Fiesta before. Nothing major to be concerned about. A little bit of rust on the diff there. Sorry, not the drive shafts there. Nothing to be majorly concerned. Quite a modified car. It had various different modifications going on, so I'm not quite sure what that pipe was, but something to do with the turbo, I think. But some modifications there. So that was before. Now this is after. So you can see the glossy finish there, where we've got the Lanoguard on underneath there and all on the suspension bits as well. A little bit went on that rubber pipe, but of course no point in spending too much time getting protecting the rubber pipe. That's looking good anyway. So that was the front after the Lanoguard treatment. And actually, I recommended to the owner. A lot of people ask me how often should I do the car, because this was in such good condition. I felt that this one probably was. I would leave this for 24 months. But anyway, that's the end of the Fiesta. So now moving to the Focus. So this is underneath the Focus RS. So a little bit more rusty under the front. Some surface rust on some of those bolts and some of the metal on the front there. So showing a little bit more rust. This is before again on the Focus. And then if we move to the after, I'd forgotten actually to take an after while it was up in the ground. So the after video of the front isn't great, unfortunately, on this car. So I had to crawl underneath it, but you can see where the front has now been Lanoguarded. It was more on the rear of the Focus that was showing a little bit more rust. So this is now the rear of the Focus RS, and you can see certainly some surface rust on some of the subframe and some of the metal on there as well. So a bit more than the Fiesta. So certainly, again, good to get it done, good to get it protected and extend the life of the car. So this is the before, looking at all the different bits and pieces into the suspension, and you can see there is a fair bit of surface rust on there. So a little bit of wire brush just to take anything loose off, and then it's ready for application. So if we move now to the after, this was a kind of a first stage after. This was the thick grease had been applied at this stage. So I'd given the subframe a good bit of thick grease and some of those more rusty looking pieces. And then the second video here, now we're looking at after. This has now had the grease and the spray. So this has now had both sets of treatment, and the bits that look quite yellowy and the heavy grease that dries it dries clear, but if it's on a dark surface it effectively looks dark, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but hopefully that makes sense. So that will dry, and that will look nothing like that in a while. I've actually got an M2 video which shows a before and then a month after, if you're worried what your car might look like afterwards. So that was both the Fiesta and the Focus being in the workshop. So thanks again for watching. These cars also got a bit of a clean inside and out as well. So that was the Focus RS and Fiesta ST. So if we can help you with your car, give us a shout. Thanks very much for watching.